All right, everybody. It's the Combatcast, and we are coming at you live today, as we do every Monday. And we are brought to you by a brand new sponsor, Chevy. Tell us about it.
Yep, Game Up sponsoring the podcast now. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. Keep that hard hydration for you. 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape.
That's right. 110 calories per can, and it's a low-carb drink. So enjoy. Why don't we tell people what we got coming up, too?
All right, March 8th, we're back with pay-per-views. Looking forward to this one. This may be one of the best pay-per-views we've seen in years. UFC 299, O'Malley versus Vera 2.
Yes.
And then also, we're going to be talking about AJ versus Francis, giant boxing fight, heavyweight title fight. Then we'll be moving on from there. March 15th, UFC Fight Night, Tuivasa versus Tybura. And then March 22nd, UFC Fight Night, Ribas versus Namajunas. Looking forward to that one.
All right. And you said Tai Tuivasa. And did you know, I'm gonna change this up a little bit on you today. Tai Tuivasa was in Australia this weekend doing a shoey with Grayson Waller.
The shoe was really cool.
Yeah, it is. Nice looking shoes. Yeah. For WWE Elimination Chamber, of course, we had a fight night in Mexico. TKO. And there's been a little crossover. Past Monday, Michael Chandler, of all places, calls out Conor McGregor on Monday Night Raw. Chevy, you don't really watch wrestling. Any thoughts on this?
So Chandler, obviously, he's known for doing this. He's done the Ric Flair call-outs post-fight, which are entertaining for sure. I mean, he was in the right place at the right time to do that. Who knows if after his fighting career he wants to try to do something in WWE. I don't know if that's a great fit. That'd be, I defer to your judgment, but good call out, I guess. But also from a hardcore MMA fan's perspective, I think he's too old to be chasing this Conor fight. At this point, I'm not sure we're ever going to get that fight the way Dana's talking about it. So, maybe just move on. I don't think it's going to happen, man. Sorry.
So that's interesting. So, right. So, as far as the wrestling crossover, no real feelings one way or the other. But it's funny where you went with that, because that's what I was explaining this to somebody. That's kind of where I went with it. Was as a wrestling fan, very inoffensive, by the way. It was he was decent enough. It was quick enough. You could tell people in the audience popped a little more when he mentioned Conor McGregor. That's a name they recognize, I'm sure. But to get to the MMA aspect of this too, right? I was telling someone he's chasing this Conor fight because it's such a big money payday. It's life-changing payday. But in the meantime, he's guys made decent money, but he's also wasting a lot of his prime years. We just had this conversation with Henry Cejudo and a lot of these lighter weights. It's like Michael Chandler. You could be getting another big money, another 2-3 big money fights, depending on how they work out. Do you really want to wait just for this one Conor fight if it never happens?
Also, I think Cowboy said this recently. He just got paid his regular flat fee that he got paid to fight Conor. He didn't make anything extra. So it's really dependent on your contract, and if you're getting pay-per-view points, or if you have it written into your contract that if you fight Conor, you're getting a percentage or something like that. Or, if the UFC is throwing you some behind closed doors, under the table bonuses or something like that. But none of that's guaranteed. So you're wasting and is going to end up being the twilight of his career. Let's be honest, he's in his late 30s. So how long can you sit out to wait for that fight?
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think he's already waited a while. I say if it doesn't happen, if there's no announcement by the summer, by International Fight Week, let's say, I say you try to get yourself on that Madison Square Garden card. You know what I mean? I would say try to get yourself a big spotlighted show and come back and then see what you can do. I mean, hopefully you're resting your body, you're healing up, and if anything, you'll be one of those rare guys that can come back rested. But as we said before, we've seen the lighter weight divisions are brutal. And I think we spent enough time on this particular subject. Let's go to this past weekend where, Chevy, some entertaining fights like you. I think we were feeling it on that East Coast time. I think we tapped out and we watched this the next day. But, man, I really enjoyed the show. In particular, I was really, I don't want to say it was the better fight. It did get a performance point, but I was really more captivated by what was going on at featherweight in this co-main event here.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, the entire card was very enjoyable. Mexico fans were great. They were brawling in the fucking stands. They were there from the opening of the card, the very first fight on the prelims, being loud. So shout out to them. It's nice when fights aren't at the apex and you get, I mean, maybe not the fights in the stands, but the fan interaction and the buzz and everything. But yeah, co-main event was the fight of the night for me that I was the most excited for. And, you know, performance-wise, these two guys showed out. So shout out to Brian Ortega, first of all, got the win coming off a rough couple of years. Obviously, he had that ankle issue where he rolled his ankle during the intros. That was very scary. And then ended up just getting his ass whooped real bad in the first round.
Sure.
Which I think actually contributed to Yair coming out tired a little bit in round 2.
And he's not always super active either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, just shout out to Brian Ortega. He got the submission win. Then he showed a lot of respect to Yair. Didn't want Mark Goddard to raise his hand when he got announced, although he did hold on to the choke a little long, and they had that issue with Goddard. But
he explained that he was really, for lack of a better, he zoned out. He said he had trouble hearing. He said he locked on, and he said, I'm just not letting go of this, until somebody tells me. And he said he just, he locked out. He zoned out. I had that incident. I'm watching this in the morning, and I see his knee buckle, and I'm seeing him react to it. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then, Yair doesn't come out with the leg kick necessarily right away. But, Yair starts to light him up, and then he's doing everything. And then
sat him down in the first.
Yeah, sat him down. And I want to say Yair even went for a choke or something, too, of his own. That might have been round 1, round 2. But what I had in my notes was Yair was fearless. He did not care about the guard. He was going after Brian, even in his guard. But what happened was Brian kind of got him down at the end of the round when Yair did that. And Yair, I definitely thought won the first round, but Brian showed it, okay, I can get him down. And then round 2, Yair was aggressive, but now Brian end up controlling most of this fight. He ends up on top again. And then by round 3, Brian's in the zone here. He's also comfortable on the feet, you can see now. And, he gets in that choke. And he shows why he's special. And why I think he's an interesting guy to possibly fight for this title. And I've always found Brian an interesting guy because he's just such a killer with these chokes. Unless you're Volk and you should have been tapped out or passed out and, you're doing special breathing exercises underwater, you're gonna probably tap or you're probably gonna pass out. So to me, even though Brian, was classy and he said, I'll talk about that behind the scenes. I think he's a very interesting fight for Ilya just because of the style.
Yeah, that's dependent on Volkanovski when he wants to come back and all that. He's earned the title shot, the rematch, obviously. But I do think after the 2 consecutive knockouts, it would be smart for him to take some time off. Do I think he's going to do that? Probably not. But yeah, I think Brian would be a suitable alternative to that.
Can I just say, I hope we shock the world here in a few weeks. I hope Matt, I love Justin Gaethje, but I'm hoping Max does the upset. And I hope Max ends up fighting Islam for the title, and I hope Brian ends up fighting Ilya. And I'd love to see those two on top because to me, they were two really special attractions in that featherweight division for a while, and good, solid dudes with exciting fighting styles. So anyway, I'm rooting for those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Plays out.
All right, let's talk about the main event. Very close fight. Brendan Moreno versus Brendan Royval 2.
What surprised me was that Royval was the one that got stronger as this fight went on. Brandon Moreno is typically the guy who gets stronger as the fight goes on. Both are very quick. I definitely had Moreno winning the first 2 rounds, although I thought he won the second round too, but they were close. But as the fight was going on and Royval was really feeling himself, I was like, man, this is kind of a difficult fight to score in the sense they're both so fast, which is something that happens at flyweight, especially with these elite flyweights. And they're doing stuff. But definitely Royval, you could tell, especially by round 4, round 5, was the stronger fighter. And I didn't have a problem with this decision. I thought he won. I think most people did. I don't think it was controversial, but it was a close fight. Royval was certainly going to have a problem if he lost. He looked upset because he thought he did lose, and both.
It was in Mexico, so
yeah, right. I get it.
Judging MMA judging, a little bit weird, but yeah.
But now, what do? Royval just came off a loss not too long ago, and he's had 2 losses to the champ, not in title fights per se, but he's had 2 losses to the champ. So it's very interesting. It's like Pantoja is still a new champion. And it's like, I think really what they were hoping for was Moreno here, and we could do a big fight in Mexico, but that didn't happen. So I say you do the fight with Royval anyway, because it's not like you have a ton of options at this weight class. And it's not, to me, like this is a unique weight class where I feel like the draw of it and the excitement of it is just the action of these smaller fighters and how fast they are. So anyway, if you're going to put it with another title fight too or something, you can always do that. But I say, at this point, give Royval a rematch.
Yeah. I was surprised, like you, with Royval continuing to build as the fight went on. And we know that there's a very high elevation in Mexico City. I know that Royval is from Colorado, so he trains at elevation, but Mexico City is much higher, so it's even tougher. I think he won by just putting so much more volume out. Moreno was really just hunting the overhand rights. I think he was really looking for a knockout in Mexico. Yeah, that would be great for him, but I think he kind of let the fight slip away by just hunting that one thing, and Royval just putting tremendous amount of volume out. I thought he got the win too. I didn't think it was very controversial, but yeah, I don't know if that's the next move. I'm not well enough versed with the top 10 of flyweight, to be honest with you, because it's really just these couple guys at the top that, get any shine. I know Mokaev is out there. I don't know if he's fought Pantoja before. I think he's somewhere in the top 10. If he wins his next fight, maybe he gets a title shot or something. I think it's up for grabs, really. Then the next flyweight to put in a really impressive performance could earn a title shot.
Shamil Albazi is another name too.
Albazi, yeah.
Number 2, actually. So maybe he'll find himself in there. Kai Kara France is at number 4 too. So maybe the fact that Pantoja did is coming off that recent title fight could be looking at somebody else getting in there, which is hey, new blood. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's get to this weekend's fight night, the one Chevy's been anxiously awaiting for. Told me off air.
Yeah, so excited. You know what is great about this? 4 p.m. Eastern main card start time, so we won't have to be staying up late like we did last week, so that'll be nice. But
1 week of the pay-per-view we're looking forward to.
Also, I'm not sure. This is both cards. Raul Rojas Jr. had to pull out due to illness 5 minutes before the fight last week, and Dana said he was going to fight on this week, and then Ricky Turcios said, I didn't sign any contract to fight this week, so it's up in the air right now. That's an interesting fight, so if that ends up on this week's card, that's one to keep an eye out wherever it ends up, but for now, we're just going to go over the co-main and main event. So, the only fight I possibly care about, co-main event, Vitor Petrino versus Tyson Pedro.
Yeah, Vitor is 10-0, 7 KOs, 1 subs, 2 decisions, 3-0 in the UFC. So very impressive. He's a prospect. Tyson Pedro's been around for a while, 10-4, 5 KOs, 5 subs, and he's won 3 out of his last 4. Tyson Pedro has looked real good after taking some time off. Tyson Pedro part has always, to me, he's always been a little inconsistent on what Tyson Pedro is going to show up. But to me, this is a fight for Vitor. Like, this is what they're obviously, I think, they're trying to step him up in the competition slowly. He's expected to win here. I like Tyson, but I don't feel like this is going to be his time. I'm going to take Vitor by KO. I think Tyson will probably go at it with him, and unfortunately, that'll probably lead to a first-round knockout.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Tough fight for Tyson. Needs to be slick and defensively sound. I think a big key for him is to start off early with those leg kicks to sap some of that power from Vitor. So if he can do that, then I think he can mix it up with him. But he needs to weaken those legs so that when he does get hit, it's not going to put him out right away. So I'm going to pick with my heart, and I'm going to pick Pedro. I'm going to say he does get those leg kicks in, and then it's a pretty even boxing match. He ends up with a round 3 TKO.
All right. I like it.
All right, let's move on to the main event. A couple of big heavyweights, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev.
Shamil is 12-0, 8 KOs, 3 subs, 1 decision, 1-0 in the UFC. Rozenstruik 13-5, 12 KOs, 1 decisions. He's lost 3 out of his last 4. He's had a lot more competition. Obviously, he's fought in Francis. He's fought in Curtis Blades. So he's had a lot more tough competition. I think he has a win over Overeem too. I have to look it up, but like, now you got you give me that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering here.
He's not memorable enough to remember that.
He does not have the greatest. He's not the most exciting fighter, despite the fact he does have power. And you know, he is a heavyweight. It feels like he's just been in some snooze fest here. Here we go, Mr. Rozenstruik here. You got me wondering. I thought he won a fight with Overeem that he was losing, and he caught him on the way. He did. He did KO Alistair Overeem in round 5 at 4 minutes and 58 seconds. And around he was losing, which sounds exciting, but it really wasn't. So,
yeah.
But that's just the category he's at. But this is not about him. Again, I think this is about these prospects, and we're trying to get them some shine. That could not happen, but I'm going to say it does. Shamil, I'm going to go round 2 TKO.
Yeah, so Jairzinho is a great striker, and he has power, but he has 0 ground game, and it's well known, so it's easy to nullify his strengths in the cage, and that's why you're seeing he's lost 3 in a row. I mean, other than the Francis one, he just went Francis on him and KO'd him in like 10 seconds. So, plus Gaziev is incredibly durable. So I don't really give Rozenstruik much of a chance personally. I think Shamil gets touched a couple times on his way in, but once he gets his hand on Jairzinho and gets him down, he makes quick work of a moment, say TKO finish. I'll say it makes it to round 2.
All right. Well, we'll see, fans. Let's see if these fights are surprising us more than we're anticipating. In the meantime, Chevy, why don't we talk about that sponsor one more time?
All right. Yeah. Our new sponsor, Game Up, is a hard hydration adult beverage, thirst quenching adult beverage, special blend of electrolytes, 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape.
That's right. Full flavor, 110 calories per can, and it's low carb. All right, Chevy, tell people what we got coming up one more time as well.
All right, March 8th, UFC 299, O'Malley versus Vera 2 for the bantamweight belt, and then Francis versus Joshua we're going to talk about. And then March 15th, UFC Fight Night, Tuivasa versus Tibera. Apex fight, I believe. A couple big heavyweights getting in the little cage. And then March 22nd, UFC Fight Night, Ribas versus Namajunas. So Rose is making her return to the cage.
All right. Should be some fun stuff ahead, even if we're not looking forward to this week. But that's all right. Guys,